So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we got with our round number two matchup, and it's gonna be a TVT between Malupeyt as well as TakRuz. Is that how you say it? Though I feel like I said it a little too fancy, honestly. Malupeyt. What do you
Said
guys think? PandaUser joining me
said it ko
today.
on like I
Is it
like
con- I mean, it has the
uh,
Y and the T, okay. So I
yeah,
feel like
that's
you
true.
you, you gotta
I,
give it the flavor, the conjunction right there. The
ko,
Konyo
konyo
fucking nation.
together we strong.
Konyo
That's what's up.
to we strong together, Konyo, like Konyo life for life. Let's go. Let's go mabilis these games, okay? Tara. Oh my god.
Konyo
Anyway,
together we strong.
so this is gonna be an upcoming TVT Panda, and TVT I
Yeah.
feel like is a fun mirror matchup, honestly, and I really enjoy seeing basically the choices that every Terran makes in terms of the matchup. You got your siege tags blowing everything up to the Kingdom Come. You have those marine drops here and there. You can play that mech. Helion's gonna be very interesting, and when in doubt, you can go for the BC, go for the Thor, but it really feels like it's all about that splash damage and the small units. But how about you? What do you think is TVT all
Oh,
about?
yeah. Either it comes down to the micro and macro. For sure, there's going to be cheese from both players if they can manage it. But in lower leagues, it's either you rush in all in. In the higher leagues, people will either go macro and micro. I'm expecting somebody to at least make Helion drops or maybe Widow Mines. Somebody would probably go mech. If they go bio versus bio plus mech, it always comes down to when it comes to a TVT fight, you can always expect these things to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Especially, it's like it feels like sometimes it's rock paper scissors, but in a mirror
Mm.
matchup, it also boils down to basically what your opponent's doing. It's either you counter it or you just play the same thing, because you're playing on the same race anyway. You can just do whatever the hell you want and try to
Yep.
beat them in terms of a micro. But speaking of micro, well, we are gonna get our three map affair here, and it seems like these are gonna be pretty micro intensive maps. Honestly, not too much space to go for the A move except that last one, which is Eternal Empire. But for Zen as well as Everdream, a lot of ramp action. You need to be wary, you need to be careful, you need to be seeing what's going on if those siege tanks are getting a really good angle and getting the shots for free.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You mean when it comes
Actually.
to TVT,
Mm-hmm.
whoever has the high ground defensively and offensively, you're just gonna steamroll your opponent.
And in all
And
honesty, man, like if you look at the map pool real quick, Mr. Panda, you got Zen, you got Everdream, and Eternal Empire. All
yeah,
those maps I feel are gonna be really interesting to play the siege tag on. From Zen, you get some really good damage even from the low ground, as long as you get that high ground vision. Everdream, you're
mm,
able to find those ramps, and Eternal Empire. Well, this map has a lot of spots for the drops, but it also has a lot of spots for getting those artillery strikes on.
mm. Yeah, but even aside from that, getting damage from each other, I think the scans are also gonna count. Like I barely see in the TVT meta like even ghosts, but it's not gonna happen even in the higher leagues. When it comes to Terrans, it's either who has the better range, who has the better high ground, and who has the better scouting. Like scouting is like the number one thing you should be doing in this game, especially when it's a TVT.
That's true. That's true. And it seems like in this upcoming TVT, we're learning a little bit about them real quick. And their attack, well, he is just basically very new to StarCraft 2. And honestly, in terms of this matchup, it's gonna be a little difficult for him, honestly, because he's gold versus Malupeyt, who's all the way in diamond. So that's a pretty big, it's a pretty good gap. But since he's a veteran of StarCraft 1, he might be able to honestly bring his cards and try to really fight things out. But this might be, this might be the opportunity here to see what the difference really is in terms of skill level between the same race. What do you think, Panda? Do you think the SR, the MMR rather, will actually be a factor into this matchup?
you know, you could say those things way back, like 2013, 2014. Like, people really didn't, give a shit, like, if they were in gold, if they were in diamond. I learned firsthand that experience that I was a gold player versus almost everybody was a grandmaster. But I would say, and I won at least one match versus these players. So if you have the practice, the willpower to manage these things, it wouldn't matter. Like rank doesn't really matter. You could be practicing all day, be stuck in one rank, But if you just have the determination to fight your opponent off, yeah,
That's
you know,
true.
practice your
That's true.
macro.
I like how
It's all
you
gonna come
flex
down to
the. I like how you flex the. I won a game against someone again. Like we were talking about it in downtime, and we were just making fun of Panda being like, "Oh, you're not gonna beat those guys easy." I was like, "Oh, why don't you go there and play?" And we were gonna get Panda to both play. Dude, we were supposed to get you to both play and cast, and I'll just be like,
No, I'm
"So
not gonna
Panda,"
do
I'll be
that,
like,
bro.
I'll go through my mic like this, guys, and I'll be like, "Panda, what are you doing? Why are you throwing? Panda, why are you throwing? Panda." There you go.
Yeah, you would do that honestly.
That's true. That's true. But you know what else is gonna be a good friend, or are you basically supporting you? I can see there's a lot of Malupeyt fans in the chat. So shout outs to everyone supporting our players. But well, you know, we gotta give some love as well to TakRuz, and we will see how this one is gonna unfold because Zen LE will be our first map. And I can't wait to see it happen. We're all set and ready to go. Blue versus red. Gonna be a pretty clean affair here. And Zen LE, pretty small map again. We might be able to see a lot of aggression at the early parts. And with those floating buildings, you can really find a little bit of those angles to potentially get the float on. Like if you remember Panda, on your main base, there's always that side base that is just blocked off by a long rotation, and then it's
Yeah.
an incline, it's a ramp actually, or it's not even a ramp rather, it's a floor system. So someone can actually go for a drop there, but it's time to get into the action, into fun, into the fray, and into the matchup.
Yeah.
Let's get into this TVT.
All right.
Let's
Players
go.
are in the game.
Yes, sir. And here we go. Zen LE TVT. We got some two Terrans looking to play things out. But first things first, introducing here on the top right of Zen LE, we got the blue Terran, and his name is Malupeyt.
Malupeyt. Woo. Early gas, by the way.
Look at
Point
this.
that out.
Look at this. Okay, sure, early gas, but look at the logo. It's so cute. It's so
early gas.
cute.
A little bit the logo.
I love the logo. INGT. That's so cute. Okay, early gas, noted. We'll talk about that later, Panda. We still gotta introduce the
Sure,
other guy.
sure.
And here on the bottom left, same
Oh,
thing.
both of them have
Same
gas,
thing.
okay.
It's the red Terran of TakRuz. So, I wanna get on this first and foremost very, very quickly. You get that gas? So what? You get the Reaper. Come on, bro. Basics.
No,
It's like-
aside from the Reaper, I think both of these players are working to transition to factories. Aside from the factories, you get some units out with the extra minerals. They are definitely going into maybe the battle cruisers battle. Like honestly, it's gonna come down to that in a PvP matchup.
Yeah.
Because you know, I ignored the fact aside from mech, battle cruisers are also gonna get into play.
Just
One
feels
way
like
or
we're,
another.
it feels like we're going back to StarCraft 1. But speaking of going back, I like a big shout outs to these two players. If I remember correctly from what they said, Malupeyt started playing StarCraft 2 in the 2010s. He started all the way back in high school in StarCraft 2, and it was in 2013, something like that, where he really found his stride in it. But in the meantime, on the other side, for TakRuz, he's more of a veteran player, not really into StarCraft 2 too
I'm
much.
sorry.
And a bunker, yes, a bunker is right there. We'll note that again, Mr. Panda. But yeah, for
Sorry.
TakRuz, he has been playing StarCraft Brood War since all the way in 2000s. But that bunker will get shut down. And is this a fake? Is this a fake here from Malupeyt? Because he pretends he's going for a bunker rush, and he doesn't really have, like we see, the units for it. He doesn't have the economy for it. The Reaper gonna be looking to try and get things done. Marines right now double pumped out by TakRuz to begin with, and in the meantime, it's gonna be factory pretty early, as you said. Mech gonna be in to play in just a bit.
Yeah, even with these things coming into play, these factors, aside from the mech, like I wouldn't be surprised with this even if the starports do go down, but I think Malupeyt is just going for a maybe double racks. Is that a double racks right there?
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Two racks, so bio gonna be the focus picked up here and now though. And I like that Malupeyt is potentially gonna be going for that siege control. Siege tank's gonna be a really good component. You get a tech lab on, you get those marines, and you get a little bit of that medevac action as well. Malupeyt really playing a little bit standard, and it feels very nostalgic because this is a comp that you run in StarCraft Brood War, and this is a comp that you run in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, especially in a TVT, like this is the norm.
This is the norm. It feels like we're back to something normal. It doesn't feel like it's like a gun battle in space. It just feels like we're on a different planet, but it's the same kind of gun battle because you got your yeah, you get the guys with the guns and you get the tanks. That's pretty much how it goes. But in the meantime, we are gonna get the Marine right there being produced again. Siege Tanks just chilling like a villain. Starport's gonna be online as well. 1-1-1 set on up. But these are very, very interesting builds because it seems very, very similar between our two players.
Get scouted
yeah, that's a good scout. That's a really good use of energy. And then Malupeyt is like, am I looking at a mirror? Am I seeing my opponents? Am I seeing myself rather? But on a different color. But TakRuz right now gonna be looking to keep up his supply. Unfortunately, not keeping up on the macro tab there. Needs to be careful with getting supply block. Malupeyt having the same problem. Come on, man. Supply blocks, not the best way to go about this game.
That's true. Like, if you were in a TVT situation, I would spread out my buildings. Like, a factory barracks, fine. If I was going for a starport, I would at least put them on the sides because units are flying. It's never gonna get stuck. I would at least strategically put them in a place where it can't be seen. But you know, apparently TakRuz didn't really put that into play. So and wall off.
I think
why would I
Panda.
wall off in a DVD?
I honestly think Panda. I mean, you get the wall just in case you see a Marine rush in, especially if bunkers do happen, and that's exactly what Malupeyt did like put a bunker there, pretend to be going for the cheese with the bunker rush, but it's not gonna happen. And TakRuz did respond in kind to finish up that wall. So, but it doesn't really matter because it's a supply depot, Panda. Honestly, they can just get dropped down. But in terms of building placement, well, main base is usually SimCity. Everything is just bunched together, but it is also a good way for the siege tanks to get maximum damage. If Marines are trying to run into your middle line, well, they can get some really good splash if the buildings are positioned like this. And I understand what TakRuz wants to do in a scenario like this, but it might also blow up in his face because his opponent is doing the exact same comp at the exact other side. But Viking right now going for the scouts just a little bit. Stimpack now being researched, and it feels like we are gonna be seeing the 1-1-1-1-1 kind of setup again, popularized by Mr. Shenanigans here in the local scene, but basically a very, very meta build to really maximize the value of the Marines in general, give them a little bit of tankiness as well, and it's a really good timing attack that both sides can really take advantage of.
Yeah, but want to point out here that there's liberators for Malupeyt, so I would put it out there if I don't think TakRuz has enough Marines to deal with the liberators, because you know a tank and a liberator is just the ultimate combo. Oh, there's another liberator right there. I missed that in the map.
Yes, there's a second liberator into the field, but here comes the zones of freedom, and these liberation zones are so supported. Defender mode is just so good actually against a comp like this, and look at how many kills Liberator has already gotten. 10 kills to his name. Malupeyt looking to come out ahead. Good Viking though here from TakRuz, trying to get some value. Siege Tank right now able to get a push on, and this is going to be hammering away onto that natural. And TakRuz is going to be put a little bit to the test in this regard.
Yeah, so if I was Malupeyt right now, I think I would just spread out my Marines, or even get just one Medivac and just drop them one by one, so I can just stack the tank. You know, just enough time for micro management to happen. But yeah, and TakRuz is taking too much damage here. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have enough Marines, or he ran the Marines and he didn't use his scout attack. He even cancels his orbital station right there because of the tank.
Look at this. It's just this poor command center looks very sad. It feels like you see the health bar, man. It's like your happiness meter, and every single time you try to fix yourself, every single time you try to repair your life, it just gets blown up. But Malupeyt is doing a really good job. He's pretty Malupeyt at what he's doing, that's for sure. Stimpack on in. He's using his upgrades to get the proper push, and that is just the advantage of the +1 and the Stimpack. You can see the potency of those Marines as well as the Marauders getting the push on. And it seems like even though they're playing a similar build, it is just Malupeyt having a little bit of the advantage in terms of the game knowledge, in terms of the activity, and he's really using that +1 to a good degree. Medevac though will go down, Vikings here used by TakRuz, but the problem here in a scenario like this is even though you shut down the Medevac, the damage has been done. The infantry are all topped up and they have been ready to go. Vikings now onto the ground mode, very useless in this kind of matchup, and this has to be game, set, and match. Malupeyt with the push onto the front lines, and well done honestly by our Blue Terran.
Yeah, I mean, TakRuz was actually going for the counter for the Liberators, but it was just too late, and he pumped out too much of the Vikings. Like, he overblown. And there were too many floating minerals for TakRuz there. He could have made at least more barracks, even a bit more siege tanks. It was a bit slow on it.
Honestly, I'd say Mr. Panda, like the upgrades are the biggest thing. Malupeyt was able to capitalize on having Stimpack, on having +1, on having Liberators, and that's just that little bit of an edge that Malupeyt was able to bring to the table because he knew what to do more. I think that was like the biggest thing. Like, he knew how his build works, and he saw his opponent doing the same thing, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, what's really good against this? If I put the Liberators in a good spot, then I might be able to get some really good hits. All I need to do is make sure my siege tags are in position, and bam, boom, bam, all those zones are gonna be such a good way to really destroy anything in my way.
Yeah. So I think he just panicked at the moment there was a Liberator.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Things were, I mean, even at the upgrades, like, he was a bit slow on it. He could have used it for that, for pointing that out. That other Liberator just went in there. Like,
he just wanted to do it. He's like, nah, I'm a hero. I can do this, guys. I can do this, guys. You know what else is a hero? You know, basically our frontliners who basically deliver things. It lets us keep safe. Like, not gonna lie real quick, because I just got the delivery of Makdo right beside me. So if you guys heard my door, that was just like it. And it's just like, fuck. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I know it's well, like, real talk though. Real quick. I mean, it's an essential job, but it's so underappreciated, that kind of thing. And you know, life is just like that sometimes, guys. Life is just like that. And the best we can do as other normal people is to appreciate what they do for us, to appreciate the little things that we might have taken for granted before. And well, at least we're also having some fun here at home playing some StarCraft 2. But just to confirm things on to the side of our map screen, well, we got Malupeyt taking that first map of Zen Alley, and we are moving into Everdream instead. Now, Panda, I've talked about before how siege tags are pretty good in this map. Do you think it's going to be the same kind of matchup, same kind of composition coming into map number 2?
Honestly, between these two players, wherever the engagements are, I'm gonna point that out like the same as before. Whoever has the better placements of the tanks, that's gonna matter at that point. If ever they do really clash each other in the middle of the map or wherever, even in the base maybe.
Like, if you pay attention to parts of the map where it looks lifted, honestly, that's where you can really shine on Everdream, because, well, like, one example has to be the third that you can take, which will show, I can explain later on in the map, but basically, if you're set up on the high ground on the other side of it, you will have range with the siege tanks, and that is gonna be very good in terms of destroying anything on the low ground. So you know, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I feel like that dynamic is gonna be a big part of this upcoming match. Liberator is gonna be a big deal as well. I really feel like it's just gonna be all about siege tanks, Liberators, Marines, Marauders, that kind of medevacs. I don't think we are gonna see the BCs, honestly. Like, it might be used for the harassed, I think. But beyond that, it's just in the TVT, the BC can really get shut down by a lot of things, honestly.
Yeah. I was actually hoping that I would see it, but none of them even bothered to do it.
Dude,
so.
Just wait for a TVZ. That's what you got. You get the BC.
Yeah,
sure. But that's a big for sure. That's gonna happen because, you know, Marines can shoot up. That's the thing.
Yeah,
they can shoot
up.
Like, how does that make sense? Honestly, real talk. If you see a big ass ship in the sky, how do you point your gun at it? How does that make sense? Come on,
like, dude! They have advanced rifles.
Look, when I was a kid, I thought it made sense. But then when you think about it, it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't matter if you have a gun. You can't shoot that thing. How does your gun actually get things done? How does that work?
Nah, like you would at least as a battle cruiser fly low enough to hit something. So
I don't think
and
so,
think about it,
Panda.
they have futuristic rifles
Oh,
now.
yeah,
They
but I
shoot
don't
up
think
in
so.
the
Like
air.
if you, I think they're gonna be somewhere like the stratosphere, something like that. Some, one of those sphere things that you learn as a kid but forget about it
Yeah,
until
like they're
everything in that
aliens on the
sphere.
sky, right? But and
Yeah,
I don't think it would be that high. Like
I think
maybe
it'd be
just
pretty
high
high.
enough that it could wreak havoc. You know?
I think we're pretty high right now. That's for sure. No, 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 guys. We're doing good. We're doing fine.
We're
But it
good.
seems like we are gonna be getting into game number 2, and it's time for another dream of another map, and it's Everdream coming our way. This is the quarantined tournament number 3, and let's get into the action with our two Terrans.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we're back. And here we go into another map of action. First things first, though, introducing players. How about you, Panda? Why don't you take it away?
All right. So here in the upper right corner, he's up by 1 game. Can he take it all? It's going to be Malupeyt.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
So,
Did you see that? He
what?
put 5 SCPs in for some reason.
Oh,
Dude, I think he was no, I think he was timing it with your intro. He's like, I'm gonna cheer Panda on and put some
no.
SCVs inside.
Yeah,
Okay.
put a delay, right?
Yes, sir. I was like, okay, that happened.
Okay.
And okay, back this time, go.
So on the lower right corner,
Lower,
he's down by
wrong,
yeah,
wrong
oh,
direction.
sorry, lower left.
Again,
I'm
fix
sorry.
your direction.
We're out of
Okay,
it, out of it.
go again.
Go again.
Redo.
On the lower left corner, as the red Terran. He's down by 1 game. Can he come back from it? Give it up for TakRuz.
Yeah, boy, as Panda would
Yeah,
say.
boy.
But we got some refinery. It seems like it is the same thing, Panda. It seems like it's gonna be the same thing. Now, what does
No,
the
two
early
barracks.
refinery? Yeah, the early refinery
Barracks.
can entail. Oh, double barracks at the very start here from
Double barracks.
TakRuz, and he
Three.
is owning 3
Oh.
barracks. Ooh.
All I do is win, baby.
Now, okay. I want to ask you one question to preface all of my statements into the future. So, what does a early refiner entail for a Terran again? Just like in summary.
In any TVT matchup, if you're going for an early gas, you could be going for Reapers, you could be going for early tanks. You could also be going for a Widow Mine Harass, factory units. So
Okay,
it's going to
exactly.
be tier 2. So
Exactly.
there's a factory right there.
That's a big thing to note. But on
Four
the other side,
barracks, let's
yeah,
go.
like this is on the other side. So TakRuz will go for the refiner, sure, but notice he only has 1 SCV on his gas. He's only getting a minimal amount of gas. He might use it into the future to get add-ons, but it seems like it is gonna be a marine frenzy here for TakRuz, and if Malupeyt is unable to scout things out properly, well, he's gonna get shut down heavily. Now, I've noticed recently that Bio is having a big comeback, honestly. Like, Mech is still very strong, but here comes the shots already, and does Malupeyt know? Does he see the
sorry.
barracks? Oh my
No.
god, he will get a scout with a sliver of HP there, sees 2 of the racks already, sees 3 of the racks overall. And he's gonna be putting a big warning sign on top of that Reaper, because you don't see this too often. And, well, TakRuz is gonna go out with this. Now, honestly, Panda, this is a little interesting because usually you see this and you're proxying, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to be proxying with this. At least 2 barracks in the base and 2 barracks near the enemy base.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
even with near the enemy base, it would at least be a tech lab with a marauder to like tank. It's gonna act like a zealot in the front line, gonna tank everything.
That's true. It's good against any mech that they build in the first place. But as I was saying, Bio is having more of a resurgence again for some reason. It does go push and pull sometimes. Mech had to say now it's Bio again, but it's still really all about how well you can play a Terran. You can pick whatever comp you want, and it should work. It just depends on how good you are at it. But I'm seeing these comps. You have your 4 racks right now. There's 6 racks. There's 8 racks. So there's basically 2 base, that kind of thing. And I forgot what tournament it was, but yeah, this isn't really out of the norm here. But in terms of the setup TakRuz has, it really feels like he should be going for the proxy instead, because he's going for this early aggression, he's not going for a second command center, and he is shut down by a single entity called the Siege Tank.
Yeah, So the bio's not really going to pan out for our friend TakRuz here. I would at least go for a second CC maybe. He's going for a factory. Like
Yo.
at this point, I'd rather be spending it on, making a second base, but he's not doing it.
Yeah, because he won't be able to really get things done, especially with the siege tanks in position. And as we said
Yeah.
on Ever Dream earlier on, there are parts of the map where you can really capitalize on your siege tank placement. And look at this corner right here. There's one of them. You can really pellet here. You can really get some damage here if that is the expansion there. But right now for Malupeyt, he could have stayed with the siege tank on the high ground, but this does give you more of that radial notion and sees everything into the front line. So now TakRuz has a big army and nothing to really do with it. So I guess it's time to do some jumping jacks, guys, and wait for boot camp to end.
Wait, or maybe get exploded by an enemy tam. You never
Yeah,
know.
maybe if it comes out, that's for sure. But they're gonna chill right now. They're gonna pretend that everything is fine, that they're not gonna have PTSD when they go home or anything. You know, that's how life is sometimes. But it seems like TakRuz going for the factory just to tech into a starport seems like to be the case. He does transfer the tech lab, interesting enough, to the factory so he can get some few defensive siege tanks on, but at the same time, Malupeyt already with 1.5 times the workers, and he is looking to macro on up with the +1 as well as the Simpack, big components of his initial victory.
Yeah, like in terms of upgrades, like Malupeyt's got this in the bag. Like he's spending his resources. He's going to try to maybe even push. Like he's got a second base. He can even go for a third if he was greedy enough. But I think he's just spending it on more units and tech right now. I think he's gonna be planning a push maybe sometime soon.
That's true, that's
Because
true.
he's not going for a third. I don't see him going for a third. Okay, he's moving up.
Yeah, it's time to go for the push. He realizes he can punish with this, and he does have a
Yeah.
pretty steady supply of minerals as well as gas with the orbital commands. And so Medivac's now double pumped out, a Marauder to help things out. And I just love the timing here from Malupeyt. He's gonna go for the push. He gets the scan on, and now Stimpack is ready to go. A supply depot. Is this the start of the wall? But Panda, how,
Maybe it's a bait.
it's kind of out of nowhere. It's like usually it's up here. It's in the middle. And
Question mark?
look, I got something to tell you, Panda. So throughout history, if your wall isn't done and the invaders are already there, it doesn't really exist, doesn't it? Doesn't it,
It doesn't
Panda?
exist. Oh, okay. Is that a missile? Okay, it's a missile.
Okay, so is the missile turret part of the wall? I'm kind of confused.
Probably.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of confused. But we are gonna have. Oh, TakRuz is gonna take it to Banshee. Does he have cloak? That's the real question. No, he's just gonna harass with the
Oh,
Banshee.
he doesn't have that.
Medivacs though, already going to the side, and the TakRuz, no, he doesn't. Doesn't see the sight lights. Can the SCV get it? Oh, that's gonna be so very close to the siege already. Siege mode. It doesn't matter, because that's gonna be a lot of units, and Malupeyt is like, hey, I see your siege tank. I'm gonna drop a marine down there. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Goodbye, sir. Good shot there from the Medivacs, and now gonna be split attack, but oh, the siege tank in position with the mine right now, waiting at the wings. Marines get to clean up on. And well, for TakRuz, he's able to fend that one off. Not bad there from the Red Terran.
I think he messed it up a bit. Like he could have just waited for the enemies to come to him, but the Banshees is there ready to defend. Even the siege tanks, with quite the nice spots.
Honestly,
right
the
there.
positioning. The positioning were really good. And that's what we were talking about last game, Panda. You see the funnels? Absolute value. Some really good splash damage there from the siege tank. And this allows TakRuz to really come back, because now they're both even. Malupeyt sure does have the +1, but he doesn't have that substantial lead anymore that will let him just overrun the opponent. +1 is really good, but you know what's better against Marines, man? Siege tank.
Siege tanks. So Liberator's gonna be going down. He went for a Banshee, so he doesn't have anything.
Oh yeah, that's actually painful. You realize that when you see the
Oh,
Liberators.
the missile
And the
turret.
anti-missile turrets though, with the hits, will actually survive. The Liberators both go down, but the damage has been done. TakRuz will have to play it a little more safe. Yeah, it's like the Liberators.
Malupeyt's forcing this too much. Like,
Yeah, TakRuz is old. He holds, but it looked really dicey there for a little bit. Liberators getting some free hits there and then, but the Marines able to get in position, sacrificing their life. And the other one, oh, that's to be a big bomb there. And the Banshee survives. But as I say that, well, apparently this missile turret works. And if you're pretty much foolish enough to set up beside the missile turret, then you deserve to get punished, man. Honestly.
I doubted that missile turret, and he actually made it work.
I
Good,
hated on the missile
kudos.
turret, but apparently the missile turret has proven us wrong, and now it's gonna pout its way
Oh,
to victory. But for Malupeyt, the biggest thing right now he can do is expand, because he does know he does have a little bit of the advantage there in terms of tech. He is gonna be able to force his
yeah.
opponent to stay on 2 base because of the whole fact that he wants to invade. And a little more macro might go a long way. Armory now being upgraded, a few vehicle upgrades gonna be very good to make those siege tanks even a little more potent. And at the same time, it seems like a refinery going to be in order as well onto the second. But Malupeyt will not go for a second command center. It's TakRuz instead going for the third.
Yeah, which is actually a good response. Like I fended off my opponent, I might as well try to expand. I'm a bit worried that Malupite's going to be forcing this too much, and he's losing too much units in the process. Like Takers has so much money in the bank, like he could be spending it on even battle cruisers as a joke, but uh, but
Battle
he's
cruisers
not.
are not a joke,
He's
man.
not.
Honestly, it's just difficult with just how many Marines
Yeah.
there are. But TakRuz right now will be seeing there's a siege tank down below. Malupeyt using these Vikings to get some vision. And as you say, yeah, TakRuz has to be a little more less frugal, honestly. He doesn't need to be
Yeah.
saving. There's no point in saving in StarCraft 2 for the next game because your money's not gonna carry over. It's not like life where next year you might have a better investment, but it seems like you are gonna get your Whispers there, PandaUser,
See, there's a I told you
because
there
there
was
is
a
a
battle
PC. But we
cruiser.
have gotten the transition, and for TakRuz, he realizes that he might be able to punish the composition, especially the siege tanks with a BC, but not in the face of these Vikings, that's for sure.
Yeah. At this point, if there's gonna be more battle cruisers, I think he should be massing Vikings at that point. Yeah,
Sure.
he's massing battle cruisers, so I think
Oh
Malupite's
my
gonna
god,
have to go
yeah.
Vikings.
My
Gotta game.
Malupeyt.
But
I
he
like
needs
the
another
response.
star.
I like this. This is a proper response. You get those double pump Vikings since he does have the after tech on, since he was going for those medivacs. And well, for Malupeyt, he has to go for the punish now. If it's not now, it's gonna be never, because this can be TakRuz taking the lead later on, especially if he does get a critical mass of PCs that should be able to outmaneuver pretty much everything else besides the Vikings. Of course, third base now will go down. Good punish here from Malupeyt. Gonna be able to get the shutdown, and since TakRuz did go BC, he can't really bring it against all these Vikings, well against these Marines.
Yeah, I mean, if you've learned as a Terran player that you've already defended against 2 attacks, you should at least spread out more and increase your area that you can actually defend. But at this point, attackers is just making things stable as it is right now, which is kind of bad in the process. But his play style is
Oh,
being kind of. Oh, there's a battle cruiser.
tactical
Actually,
warp.
two battle
Yeah,
cruisers.
it's a tactical warp here onto the natural, and low with harassment already. 5 SVs go down, and a big thing to look at the user is Yamato Cannon is ready to go. But Malupeyt is still waiting at the other side. Honestly, this can be an opportunity here for Malupeyt. He can go for the base race, and he should have the advantage because
Oh,
this is
that's not gonna die. Oh, it's gonna
pretty
die.
significant army counts. But 11 SCVs do go down. There we go, finally the pull. Attacker is getting some value here. Malupeyt, now or never, as we said, he has to do something, and he's gonna go for the push. He will try to get the base race on. Will it actually be enough? Here comes the step back on in. It's a firing squad though from TakRuz, and Malupeyt taking some damage on the low ground. Brute Force apparently is the name of the game, and TakRuz losing a lot there. Malupeyt still in this fight, still keeping things up. The Vikings right now punishing the BC, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. 2 BCs in this sphere right now is a pretty significant part of TakRuz's army. And without them in position, well, Malupeyt can go for the push, but he loses a lot as well. And that is some pretty significant economic damage there. The Marine right now going for the shots. Malupeyt still sets up with the siege tanks. +2 right now coming online very soon. But seems like we are at a stalemate because both sides need to basically reset after all of that.
Yeah, but TakRuz has more resources right now, and those battle cruisers are just whittling down everything because Yamato cannons are actually pretty good right now, and there's no air defenses for Malupeyt. So I think the resources in this first piece were actually finished. Although there's Viking shots on the left side, and you just can't see them. 2 Vikings on that.
There you go, the Vikings
Yamato.
are there.
Oh, he tactical jumped to the main base, which is actually the better play because there is nothing for Malupeyt right now. He has no resources. He's gonna have to at least try to make something happen. Like, where is his SCBs in the main base? Are they just standing there.
No,
Okay.
they're kind of doing something. This one has been on break. This one too. This one too. They've been on break
So
for a
yeah,
while.
three
There's three
are
of them.
on break,
So I do want to note that TakRuz has not made this into an orbital command whatsoever.
yeah.
But he's still floating on a lot of minerals, so honestly, this is an opportunity for the bank of TakRuz
Oh,
to
that
really
little
get some
bike.
value. Vikings dropping on down. Now, it's a little dangerous, honestly, here for TakRuz, but he does get a pick up on one of the other Vikings. Counter kill there. Marines right now with the shots. TakRuz has to be a little more careful, but honestly, if it's someone who can spend money, it's the Red Terran who should be spending money, because
You should
Malupeyt,
be, yeah.
like, even though he's less on the money tab on the minerals and the gas, interesting. The orbital command gonna go for the float on.
Third base.
Go for a third base, but it's technically just two in general. The SCVs right now transitioning again. We do see TakRuz on the other side. Gonna be looking to get things up on this regard, and just all about the economy here. Now 3.2k minerals. You gotta find a way to really invest that money.
Yeah, like as I see things right now, it's just trying to expand, just trying to harass. But all of the harassment's coming from Malupeyt right now, and then I think there's a clash happening. No, okay, there's none.
Yeah, it's just time to wait. It's just the time to wait things out, and
Waiting it out.
it really is a reset. But honestly, for TakRuz, he should be taking advantage of all of this because
Yeah, like I think there's battle cruisers, Vikings should be increasing his units, but instead he's going for banshees. Okay, I don't get it. The way things are right now, I don't get why you would go for more banshees. I think it's going for a mech option, but it's not happening anytime soon.
yeah, it's true.
There's
But
too
hey,
many. There's too much bio. Battle cruisers is just gonna get overwhelmed by by marines.
yeah, Siege Tank's gonna be there. Here comes a little bit of a brawl yet again, and Malupeyt is looking to really find a way to finish this game off because.
Yeah.
It's just TakRuz hasn't realized he has money. TakRuz hasn't realized that he is good to go in producing. And it's a little abysmal to see 4 Marines in production with 3.5k in the bank. But on the other side, Malupeyt is really being super, honestly, what do you call this? Like, he's just being as effective as possible. He's being very efficient, honestly. He's getting upgrades, he's getting a good many of units, a lot of high cost units, a lot of different things that can really help him out. And for TakRuz, he's wasting a lot of opportunities here to take this game because if Malupeyt gets the things he needs, well, that +3 on infantry weapons is going to be such a big deal. But yeah, the Marine's going to be there again. Looking back on now, TakRuz will take a little bit of burn. One thing I don't like from Malupeyt though is he's using a lot of energy to go for the scans, especially right now when he does need more on those minerals with the mules. Yeah, just toss those mules down. And I don't like it either that he did lift off his main command center. Just make a new one, man. Just make a new one.
Let's make a new one.
Let's make a new one, but
base.
yeah, and since he did have SCVs, could have gone for the natural. But just criticisms aside, Malupeyt is playing this a lot better than his opponent. That's for sure because he is trying to really find a way.
They're taking pot shots at the tank. Like,
They're trying. I'm gonna shoot the tires off. I'm gonna shoot the tires off, but it doesn't work that way. Anyway, here comes the push right now, and it seems like Malupeyt jumping the gun a little bit. +3 will go online very soon. Gonna be very effective against any of those flyers. Here comes the punish though, and Malupeyt's into the front line with this bio-based composition. Viking right now with the hit yet again. The SCVs right now trying to get on away, but it seems like the evacuation orders are not on notice whatsoever. And this is Malupeyt having an open door to get the push on. TakRuz in the meantime not taking the opportunity with his investments. It doesn't matter if you have the money, it's only paper if you don't spend it.
Yeah, like at this point, even with there's no Marines anymore. Oh, those 2 Marines can actually. Never mind. I didn't say anything.
Honestly,
man.
so close. 34 kills on the BC, and honestly for TakRuz, I feel
General,
like
bro. That general's gonna go down. By the way.
Oh my god, that is just gonna be a captain going down his ship earlier on. You know what? Oh yeah, speaking of earlier on, if you notice that Malupeyt had his engineering bay here. If TakRuz decided, hey, look at that engineering bay, it looks nice, right? Let's just blow it up. That could have been a pretty big game changer. That could have been a pretty big game changer, not gonna lie. Now, TakRuz has no SCVs left. He is gonna be floating this orbital command. It's all he has left, and goodbye. That is
no SCVs, bro.
no SCVs at all. Orbital command trying to float on away. Marines right now dropping on down, and this has to be Malupeyt to win. Doesn't matter if you have the money. If you're not gonna spend it, it's not gonna happen. I love how Malupeyt stayed on the proper comps. He does understand how to really play this matchup, and TakRuz.
He committed to the Marines.
Listen here, Mr. Panda. TakRuz fell in the hole that any player does fall into from time to time. Build the best unit that you can build over and over again.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna work if this is all you're gonna do. Now he doesn't have the gas, he has a lot of minerals, he could have gone for a number of Marines to really fill up his supply. But by this point in time, he is gonna go for that desperate adventure with the Orbital Command. Malupeyt is looking around to try and find things out. Yeah, so this is looking around. He's like, do I know it's there? Yeah, he does. Sees the big block, trying to get on away. And basically here, this is Malupeyt's series to win. Missile turrets right now, littering on the natural just to make sure everything is fine and dandy. But honestly, it doesn't matter what TakRuz does here unless he gets more BCs. Like, he's gonna get 4 of them in total. Tactical warp right now onto the natural base. Missile turrets back to punch, but it's still with the BCs right now destroying everything as the Orbital Command did go down earlier on again. And Revelation is there. It's like, okay, you don't got any kind of economics whatsoever, and honestly, Malupeyt is just taking a sweet time to finish this game.
True. Battlecruisers will be going for the teams to be harassing, but I don't think it's really gonna matter at this point. Like, if you have no buildings to have, like, you're not gonna be in this game anymore.
That's true. That's true. And it's a little sad for TakRuz. He did go for Banshees earlier on. He does have that cloak now. I think he didn't have it earlier. He was gonna go for the harassment, but at the same time, since TakRuz did expose BCs, that automatically makes them play into what? Missile turrets, so he's not gonna be able to get the harassments. In terms of the matchup against the CSAC, sure it might work, but the scan will really shut things down. And speaking of the shutdown, command center immediately destroyed. Here comes Malupeyt. He doesn't even care that he's supply blocked by this point. He's gonna bring everything in. Good positioning with the buildings one more time from TakRuz's side, but it doesn't matter by this point because this is just such a big concave. SCVs are brought along as well to just go for the invasion. And it's a little bit of base race here, honestly. Now, Malupeyt can still lose. Honestly, Malupeyt can still lose because he doesn't have enough money to build one more command center. He has to clean up all these buildings. The BC right now taking a little break. Seems like they're a little tired after their escapades. And yeah, a starport gonna be flown on over to the corner. It really is a base race here, but it's just I feel like Malupeyt just has this in the bag by this point.
Yeah. He just forgot to chase down that starport that's right there. Like, that's the only building he needs to take down right now. And he's not doing anything about it. Like, oh man, at this point, Viking gets shot down by the Yamato cannon.
The Yamato getting the momentum.
Oh, there it is. It's being followed. The starport's being followed.
Yeah, eventually. You don't want Viking trying to break this building down. BCs right now shutting down the add-ons, but it's all good. Starport not being beat by Malupeyt.
Yeah, and Vikings actually engaging the battle cruisers, but I think those Vikings are gonna. Never mind.
That's it. They can do it. It's 2 BCs against, all those Vikings. And that's GG called. Malupeyt moves on to round number 3, and interesting game to say the least.
Yeah. So good call out right there that he overcommitted the battle cruisers and nothing really happened. Malupeyt responded properly by making more Vikings to just be amass, and stuck to his Marine Marauder comp. He didn't actually go for more Medivac. At least he did his best and he won that game.
Exactly. Malupeyt just honestly, I think what really won him was the fact that he was very efficient with what he was doing in terms of the macro, really spending those minerals as well as those gas by getting the upgrades, getting the units, getting the composition. He knows that all around will work. And on the other side, for his opponent, it feels like he was focusing way too much on just trying to outpower his counterparts with BCs and Banshees as well. Banshees that late, not really gonna help out. Sure, it can kill siege tanks, but it doesn't matter in the face of that many Marines, and the immediate scan will shut it down. There's no way a Banshee will survive, but hey, at least Malupeyt makes it and moves on to the next round. So Zen LE as well as Everdream LE taken by Malupeyt. Eternal Empire not even gonna get played. But overall, Panda, your thoughts about that series?
About that series, it's a typical TVT game. Yeah, but experience wise, we could really see how big of it was. Like, uh, yeah, TakRuz floating minerals too much. Malupeyt just trying to end things immediately, but at the same time, he was lacking in bases. He could have been making command centers left and right. He could have been stacking up, but I think he just wanted to end things like almost immediately. But even with the big experience gap between the players, there's still a lot of things these players lack at the same time, which
Yeah,
they should be working on.
yeah, exactly. Hey, it's really a learning process, and this is what the
Yeah,
gold to diamond bracket is about. But that was our TBT series. It was pretty interesting. I was able to, just understand a few things here and there from our two players, and well, they can look at that pod and realize what went wrong for both of them. For Malupeyt, just those attacks. He could have gone for the macro instead of trying to really force things, but when the going got tough, he was a lot more clutch than his opponent, who sadly
mm,
didn't really use the money that he banked on in the first place, and that's a little heartbreaking, honestly. But it is what it
yeah,
is. And Malupeyt is able to move. That was fun. That was fun in a way, and we are going to be going into another round of action in just a bit. So we'll take a little break, grab a little bit of grab a little bit of a snack, and we have a lot of upcoming matches that are really going to be very,
yeah.
very interesting. Round number 3 coming your way soon. This is the SCPH Quarantine Tournament number 3.
See ya.